Just as a disclaimer, we want you to know that some of the movies that we will be reviewing were shot in a different time and era where people of race and sex were not treated equally. We understand this and hope you do too. The movies or anything that happened on the sets are not the views of this podcast or what this show is intended to be all about.
Exactly. And we want to give due diligence in presenting the movie and not the views of the cast or directors or anyone involved. But we also feel it's necessary to let the audience know some of the background information to get a feel for what was happening at the time of shooting the film. Again, we hope you understand that we do not agree with everything that went on, and we just want to give out the information. And with that being said, hope you enjoy the show.
Ghosts.
Hello, Ghostbusters.
They're real.
You do? You have?
They're here. Ghostbusters.
Hey, anybody see a ghost?
They catch the ghost that won't stay dead. They're armed. They're dangerous.
Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
All right, that's bad. Okay. All right, important safety tip. Thanks, Egon.
They're professionals.
Oh, I'm the chairman of the largest paranormal removal company in America. You see it?
They're all that stands between you and the end of the world.
The city is headed for a disaster of biblical proportion. Real wrath of God type stuff. Zach, fire and brimstone coming down from the sky. Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Your girlfriend lives in the corner penthouse of Spook Central.
You want this body?
Is this a trick question?
Got your stick? Hold! Beat him up! Smoke him! Make him hard! Ready!
Ghostbusters. Starring Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Sigourney Weaver, Harold Ramis, Rick Moranis. Coming to save the world. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters.
We came, we saw, we kicked it.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Tragedy of Cinema podcast. I'm your host, Jimbo, and alongside me for the third consecutive week in a row, I can't believe it.
Gosh.
Who is this guy?
It's not a ghost. It's co-host Terrence Davis.
Co-host Terrence Davis is back in the building. This was going to be episode 49, Ghostbusters. But before we get started, a few little details we'd like to throw out there. Terrence and I had the privilege of being on the third annual Hillbilly Horror Stories Halloween special.
Yes.
Jerry and Tracy Pauly dropped that on Tuesday, so if you want to go give them a listen, it's a great thing with a bunch of podcasters out there, so you might want to check that out. And tell them, hey, Tragedy of Cinema sent you, so they know that, hey, we're reaching some people too.
Plus, it's a fun Halloween sort of special that they do. So it all has to do with like spooky stuff, Halloween. So it's really fun to listen to.
Really fun. And not only that, but also Terrence and I, after we get done recording this episode, are putting the finishing touches on our Halloween episode ourselves that we will be releasing special Saturday night. We are continuing what we did on the Hillbilly Horror Stories. We are doing the original Night of the Living Dead. So if you listen to the Hillbilly Horror Stories thing we did, which is about 10 minutes long, we're going to expand on that from there. Also, the Twilight Zone competition will be ending this Saturday about 8 o'clock, which is Halloween. So if you haven't listened to the Twilight Zone and found those keywords in like the last 4 episodes, go ahead and do that, and then email the answers to me at thetragedyofcinema@gmail.com for your chance at a coffee mug, an official Tragedy of Cinema merchandise coffee mug that I will ship out to you. And Terrence, I wouldn't let you get away this week without a question. I'm starting to run out of questions, but Terrence, who is your favorite ghost in a movie?
Favorite ghost in a movie? I got it.
No.
The ghost in Lord of the Rings. When just that whole army of ghosts.
The army of the dead.
The army of the dead.
That's a good one.
Just because of how intense that is, because the stakes are high. There looks like they're losing, and then suddenly all the ghosts come in. So epic,
right? That for me, I think I'm going to have to go a little bit further back into my childhood. Probably Casper the Friendly Ghost. Because Casper the Friendly Ghost, friendliest ghost. I just think he had a lot of cartoons and stuff that they don't make them like that anymore. So, Terrence, episode 49, Ghostbusters. Let's take it away.
Ghostbusters, release date June 8th, 1984.
It was a great year for movies, as we will soon learn.
Yes.
Especially while this was at the theater, there was so many other movies that
just looking at the top five, you'll see some. Yeah. So we got a budget of $30 million. Which is about $75 million if you account for inflation. So that's $75 million today. The box office, it ended at $296.4 million. If you adjust that for inflation, that's $742.5 million. Just to give you an idea of how much money this movie made, it was the highest grossing comedy until Home Alone, which came out in 1990.
Also the year that Terrence was born.
6 years later. I got some box office numbers. The weekend this came out, this was the top box office numbers. We're talking June 8th, 1984, the weekend of that date. Here's the box office numbers. You ready for this? We got number 1, Ghostbusters. Obviously, we've seen the numbers. But then we got number 2, Gremlins. Number 3, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Number 4, Star Trek 3 and the Search for Spock. And number 5, Beat Street.
That is a classic lineup right there.
Yes.
It doesn't get much better than that.
And then we have the 1984 lineup for the year box office numbers. Still at number 1, we got Ghostbusters, but we got a little switch up for number 1 and number 2. Number 2 came Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Great movie.
Then we got number 3, Gremlins. Number 4, The Karate Kid. And then finally at number 5, we got Police Academy. And these are just the top 5. I mean, there were so many other movies.
Man, there were so many movies on that list you were going through. I was like, man, if we could go back to 1984, that was just the time to be. I mean, there was so many movies.
Yeah, you can go to the theater probably almost
I think 16
every
Candles
other
was on there.
Yeah,
I mean, just a lot of stuff.
was on there. There was The Terminator. There were so many movies on there. So moving on, we got writer Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis. What's interesting is both of these writers also were two of the main characters in the movie. Ray Stantz and Egon, what was it? Spengler. Other things that they've written are, so for Dan Aykroyd, he helped write Blues Brothers, both 1 and 2, and obviously the subsequent sequels of Ghostbusters and even the newest Ghostbusters. Harold Ramis, all the other Ghostbusters also. He also helped write Groundhog's Day, Stripes, and Knocked Up. And a myriad of other oh man, why am I blanking on the Bill Murray movies? I don't know why I could not think of his name for a moment. But he was Harold Ramis and Bill Murray almost go together because he's written so many of the movies he's in, or at least helped write. This was directed by Ivan Reitman, who also has a pretty cool lineup of like what he's done. He's also done Kindergarten Cop, Twins, Evolution.
And don't forget, also an uncredited writer to this was Rick Moranis. Also wrote some stuff for this too.
Which, oh man,
we'll talk about it.
All right. Then we have music by Elmer Bernstein, and this guy has quite the lineup too. He's also done a musical score helped music in a movie that we have covered, The Magnificent Seven. Mm-hmm. He's done music for To Kill a Mockingbird, and more recently, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood by Quentin Tarantino. Then we have, just because he wrote the main song, it's so catchy, we got Ray Parker Jr., who also wrote, he wrote the main song of Ghostbusters, so catchy. Everybody to this day still sings it. But he also did music in Stranger Things, Big Bang Theory, the movie Ex Machina, and Zombieland. Then we go on to cinematographer Laszlo Kovacs. He's done cinematography for Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Multiplicity, Radio Flyer, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. So just the production team that they had on this, they got some big names here, who've done some great movies. This was edited by David E. Belwitt and Sheldon Kahn. Production companies, Columbia Delphi Productions and Black Rhino. Columbia Productions got bought out by Sony Corp. I remember in the past, I would always mention the distribution and production companies, and I'm thinking to myself, who's bought out all these companies that you really don't see anymore? Of course,
number one, you're thinking Disney,
Disney, right? I think we're going to see Sony and Disney a lot, and if not, bigger companies that first bought them out and then got bought out by either Sony or Disney, and then also Black Rhino, who only helped in the production of this movie and some other movie called Dr. Detroit. Okay. Distributed by Columbia Pictures. Now off to my favorite part.
No, you're not.
Oh, yes. My notes are in a scramble. I almost forgot. We have a runtime minute 45 minutes. We got a sound mix.
A minute 45 minutes? Is that what you just said?
1 hour and 45 minutes.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Wow.
I know. I'm everywhere. Hour 45 minutes. Minute 45 if you're in a rush, I guess.
Watch that 60 speed or something?
Yeah. We got a sound mix of 70mm 6-track. We have Dolby Stereo, 35mm prints, Dolby Atmos, Blue for the Blu-ray release. This obviously is in color, Metro color, as a matter of fact. Aspect ratio of 2.20 by 1, 70mm prints. 2.39 by 1 and 2.40 by 1. So this has been re-released a couple times, and more recently being a Blu-ray release. This was filmed using Panavision camera and lenses. Laboratory, this was edited in Metro Color, Clover City, USA. Film length, this was about 6 reels. We're looking at 2,881 meters, Sweden. Negative format, 35mm Eastman. Cinematographic process, man.
You are all over today.
I know, right? Usually I'm on it.
3 weeks in a row, man. You're starting to come back to full form.
Cinematographic process, Panavision anamorphic. Printed film format, 35mm. And finally, this was blown up to 70mm, and that would be Eastman 5384. So that's it with the technical specs. And now, finally...
Are you sure?
My favorite part, officially, to the awards. So we have, once I get to those notes, I was prepared and not prepared at the same time. I have a lot written down, which I usually don't.
Right. Don't forget, there's some at the bottom of this page too.
Yes.
Right here. It starts here.
Oh, there we go.
You just got them out of order again. I think this goes to 1, 2, 3. I think.
There we go.
Good grief. Kids these days, millennials.
Ghostman. All right. Academy Awards USA 1985. They were nominated for Best Visual Effects and Best Music Original Song for Ghostbusters. Golden Globes USA 1985. They were nominated for Best Motion Picture, Comedy or Musical, and Best Performance by an Actor in a Motion Picture, Bill Murray. And then finally, Best Original Song, Ghostbusters. So nothing won yet. But we finally get to the BAFTA Awards in 1985.
Which stands for?
I do not remember.
The British Film...
Television Awards.
Movie and Television Awards or whatever.
We got the winner. They did win one here, and that would be for Best Original Song, Ghostbusters. Nominated... for Best Visual Effects, Richard Edlund, which actually, I did pull some stuff up just because this was a very visual effects heavy movie, so I was like, oh, I wonder what else he's helped in. Turns out he helped out the Star Wars films, Worked on the first Star Wars. After that, he worked on the Battlestar Galactica, and we're talking about Battlestar Galactica, the original TV series for those who are younger. Then he was invited by George Lucas to come back to Empire Strikes Back, and then from then on, he continued to do visual effects for Raiders of the Lost Ark, Poltergeist, Ghostbusters, and a bunch of other big hit movies. Guys, big name in the special effects area. So now we are off to the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films, USA 1985. We have the winner of the Saturn Award, Best Fantasy Film. Then we move on to the Golden Screen in Germany, 1985. They won the Golden Screen. No particular category, it's just an overall award. Then we have the Grammy Awards, 1985. They were nominated for Best Album of Original Score written by a motion picture for a television special. Then we have Hugo Awards, 1985. Nominated Best Dramatic Presentation. Film National Preservation Board. They hit that in USA 2015. Where they won and were put on the National Film Preservation Board. Online Film and Television Association, 2016. Winner for Motion Picture. Young Artist Award, which is our last award here, and this was, again, 1985. They won the Young Artist Award for Best Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy. And then finally, we have the synopsis. 3 scientists at Columbia University go into business by becoming ghost-catching sleuths known as the Ghostbusters. Who you gonna call?
Obviously not Terrence, because he wouldn't be able to get it right. So we'll go ahead and talk a little bit about the cast. And Terrence, once again, we pulled up the people who either tried out for it or got the part, declined it. And we'll ask you if you think that you could have seen them in this role. So obviously we'll start out with Bill Murray. He played Peter Venkman. So here we go. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton. I think I can see. Yeah, I can see.
Okay, yeah, but he turned it down.
Yeah.
Actually, this was actually written for, when Dan Aykroyd was doing the script, it was actually written for John Belushi, but he died while he was writing the script.
Oh, no.
So, John Belushi, could you see him?
Yeah, I can see John Belushi.
Okay. Chevy Chase.
Chevy Chase. I don't know, it seems a little different from his usual role.
Well, he actually turned it down because he's like, the original script was too scary and dark. He's like, the script that you got, the movie you got, says totally different than what it was actually presented to him. So, Steve Guttenberg.
Remind me who Steve Guttenberg is.
He's Police Academy.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I can see Steve Guttenberg.
Yeah, well, he had to turn it down because he was committed to Police Academy.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks. Obviously, I think he's good at anything. And Robin Williams.
Yeah. I would. Oh man, I kind of wish it was Robin Williams.
Dan Aykroyd as Ray Stantz, which nobody even tried out. I guess he wasn't giving it up since he's the writer.
Yeah, exactly.
Sigourney Weaver played Dana Barrett, and somebody that tried out was Julia Roberts.
Oh, huh?
Maybe maybe. Harold Ramis as Egon Spengler. Michael Keaton again, but he turned it down. Christopher Walken.
Yeah, I could. Well, yeah, I can see Christopher.
John Lithgow.
Because I have to imagine a younger Christopher Walken, not now Christopher Walken.
Needs more cowbell. John Lithgow.
Remind me what he's in.
Terrence, are you a movie person or not? He was in Third Rock from the Sun.
Got it. All right.
Harry and the Hendersons, I think.
Oh man, I don't know. I don't think so.
Christopher Lloyd.
I can see. Okay.
Do you know who that is?
I know.
Okay. And Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, I can see Jeff Goldblum.
I can't too. Rick Moranis as Louis Tully. Boy, he played a fantastic role. But two people. One was John Candy.
I can see.
But John Candy turned it down because he wanted to make some changes. He wanted him to have like 2 dogs and all this, and they didn't think it went with the character or whatever because it was so much dog oriented already.
Yeah,
as we'll talk about. And the other one was Jay Leno.
What?
And somebody, Eddie Deason. I don't even know who that is. I'm sorry, Eddie. I need to look some more into you, see what you did. Annie Potts played Janine Melnitz. The only other person was Sandra Bernhard. Tried out for. I'm not really sure who that is either. William Atherton as Walter Peck. Now, and somebody else that tried out for it was Michael Ensign, who he had tried out, but he ended up becoming got the part of the manager of the Sedgwick Hotel.
Okay, yeah.
And he was also in Die Hard. The manager of the hotel was in Die Hard. So if you see him, you might realize what he's from. Ernie Hudson as Winston Zeddemore. Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. Eddie Murphy ended up turning it down because he declined the role. So actually, Winston was supposed to come in earlier. He was joined the team much earlier. He was actually the one that got slimed in the hallway at the hotel. But once Eddie Murphy declined the role, they rewrote the script, and Winston came halfway through the movie.
Gotcha. So then they got it now.
Reginald Vell Johnson. Do you know who that is?
Nah.
No, I'm going to say no. He played Carl Winslow on Family Matters. He was the dad on Family Matters. He's also, Terrence, I can't believe this, he's also Al Powell from Die Hard 1 and 2.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's see.
He also got the part as the jail person here where he comes and lets him out of the jail.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe.
Slavacia Jovan, she played Gozer. This is Larry King's film debut. You'll see him in there. And Jean Kasem was the tall blonde woman at the party with Louis Tully.
Oh, yeah.
And she's the wife of Casey Kasem, which Casey Kasem makes an appearance in here on the radio. Everybody, I don't know if you're old enough to remember. I don't know if you remember this. But he used to do like Casey Kasem's top 40 of the hits of every week or whatever on the radio. So yeah, you're looking at me with that blank stare. So those of you that are of an older generation like me, he also did the voice of Shaggy in Scooby Doo.
Oh well, there you go.
Well, see, I had to tone it down to you kiddos. So there's also a couple of cameos. Debbie Gibson. She is actually an extra at the Tavern on the Green. She is sitting at the table with the balloons with the pink ribbons in her hair. I'm sure Terrence doesn't know who that is either, so we'll just keep on going. The director, Ivan Reitman, he actually did the ground where Sigourney Weaver says, there is no Dana, only Zool now, so he actually put himself in there. So so now we'll talk a little bit about the movie now. I've got my notes kind of organized today. I'm pretty proud of myself. Nice. Well, we'll see. We'll be jumping around the movie, so if you haven't seen this movie, we'll still be jumping around because I basically broke it down by, location, props, quotes, filming, cast, blah, blah, blah. So I'll go ahead and do a little bit more of the cast stuff. Harold Ramis only intended to write the film. He decided to play Dr. Egon Spengler after he felt he was the best person suited for the role. So,
he's perfect fit.
Right. On the set, Dan Aykroyd referred to Slimer Ghost as the ghost of John Belushi because Slimer's eating was based on Belushi's cafeteria scene in National Lampoon's Animal House from 1978.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Sad note, Harold Ramis did pass away, but fans of the movie paid tribute to him by visiting the New York City firehouse, using the exterior shots, and created a makeshift memorial featuring Nestle's Crunch Bars, which is in reference to Venkman giving Spengler a candy bar, and Twinkies, which Spengler used in the Twinkie to describe the ghost problem in New York. Sadly, he died in 2014 at the age of 70. He battled with autoimmune disease most of his life. He had a problem. He had several side effects of the medicine that he was taking, which he had to learn how to walk again after an autoimmune disease. He caught autoimmune disease of vasculitis in 2010, and a relapse following the next year. His final film appearance on screen was in 2009 in the comedy Year One. So
that's a pretty funny movie.
Yeah, I wish he would have been around for the remake, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sigourney Weaver recalled, "I once had a fire in my apartment after the movie, and the firemen came to put it out. One of them opened up my refrigerator and said, 'Whoa, you better call the Ghostbusters.'" So, the stuff that these guys went through. Gozer, all right, Terrence, if you do not get who this is, then I'm going to be really upset with you. Gozer was originally going to be played by none other than Paul Rubens. Terrence, who is Paul Rubens? I'm putting you on the spot.
You got to tell me what he's in.
No, if I tell you what he's in, it's going to tell you who he is. He is none other than Pee Wee Herman.
Oh, see that's the thing.
But he turned out.
I'm not a like. I didn't grow up with Pee Wee.
Okay,
Herman,
he was
like,
in Buffy the Vampire Slayer as one of the vampires too. There you go. So,
okay.
I think he was in that movie Below too. If you want to talk about it. But he actually turned it down. Gozer's final form was described as David Bowie meets Grace Jones. So we just talked about David Bowie last week. So let's see here. Here's something else about Gozer. Gozer was also a name related to a documented haunting in England. The name Gozer appeared mysteriously throughout the house, written on walls and other things. So I thought that was pretty cool that they used something like that.
Yeah.
Let's see here. You see how I'm scrolling through all this? Harold Ramis made a choice to never smile as Egon, which it's hard to do, man. I mean, especially with Janine's all over him. You know what I mean?
Bill Murray. Oh man.
Let's see here. Going through here real quick. Okay, we're back to the beginning of the notes. So, most of this movie movie is ad-libbed. None of the scenes that were actually written were shot to the script. They were all ad-libbed. And out of all the characters, who do you think had the most ad-libs?
Bill Murray.
Yeah, Bill Murray, obviously. When Louis Tully mingles with his party guests, commenting on the price of the salmon and so on and so forth, it's all one continuous shot, and most of it is entirely improvised by Rick Moranis.
That's hilarious.
Which that's to be some quick thinking, man, because he's just bouncing around that entire thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you can get a feel that he's just, really good at doing that, which I'm pretty sure he's done in vast other films. Dude's hilarious.
When Venkman mentions to Spengler about, remember that one time you tried to drill a hole in your head, and Spengler's response was, that would have worked if you hadn't stopped me. It was actually ad-libbed by Harold Ramis, sorry. So I think that was all the ad-libs that I found. I'm sure there's 1,000 more.
Oh, yeah. Those are just like some of the more notable ones.
Right. For the promo, this is pretty cool. In the middle of the film's initial release, to keep the interest going on and on and on, Ivan Reitman ran a trailer that was basically the commercials used by the Ghostbusters in this movie. But the 555 number was replaced with a 1-800 number, allowing people to call in. Callers got a recorded message of Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd saying something to the effect of, "Hi, we're out catching ghosts right now." They got 1,000 calls per hour, 24 hours a day for 6 weeks.
Wow.
And I wonder if this is back in the time when you had to pay 99 cents or something like that, for the 1-800 number call in, because they probably just made a lot of money doing this.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll talk about some of the filming. The schedule for getting the movie into the theaters for its release date in the summer 1984 was so tight that the final print included incomplete special effects shots and errors like visible wires, but people didn't care. So, I mean, if you watch it, you can tell. We'll talk about it here at the end. I know we've already talked about it a little bit. Let's see here. You know what? I'm not going to go through. I'm just going to go page by page now because it's getting out of control. So some of the Ecto-1 had the blue lights on it.
Yeah.
But the problem is, in New York City, blue lights would not have been allowed to be on this because they're reserved for voluntary firefighters and their immediate families.
That makes sense.
Sorry, the Ecto-1 would not be able to be in New York City. But hey, it's the movies, right? Movie magic.
Hollywood.
The red contacts that Slavitza Joan had to wear were very uncomfortable. Reminds me of when we talked about in The Lost Boys where Kiefer Sutherland had them in and tears were actually rolling down his face.
That's still a thing today, too. I feel like it's a problem that hasn't completely been solved yet. Is just problems with contacts. I remember most notably would be in Game of Thrones, the actress who played Arya Stark, when she goes blind and her eyes are white, those were contacts that just really, really bothered her to the point where she was in pain.
But you think with the CGI they got going that they would be able to use CGI to do most of that without even having to put anything in her eyes.
That's true. But this comes to something I mentioned, I believe, when we were talking about Labyrinth, and that's just sometimes it's actually majority of the time it looks better if you actually do it versus choosing the CGI option.
It's probably cheaper too.
Yeah.
So, the lively chorus shouting "Ghostbusters" during the film's final theme song consists of Ray Parker Jr.'s girlfriend and her friends, who were the only people Parker could find quick enough to meet the deadline. He said he got the idea for it when his son shouted "Ghostbusters." So, I think that's pretty cool.
That's great.
The demonic voice of Dana Zool was performed by the director. Patty Edwards provided the voice of Gozer. The terror dogs that come to life were actually statue designs of an old church in Philadelphia.
Oh, okay.
And you covered the highest. You said that. So, Sigourney Weaver, where she is floating in midair when Bill Murray comes to see her, is actually a physical effect. The actress was put in a full body cast and attached to a post hidden in the curtains. The effect came from the director's Broadway experience. So he brought a little of the Broadway
special effects
to the movies. The firehouse that is seen and is the Ghostbusters headquarters is actually two different firehouses in two different cities. The exterior is in New York City and the interior is in downtown Los Angeles. The Los Angeles firehouse has been used in many, many movies. And we'll talk about one here in a little bit. So the Hook and Ladder number 8 firehouse in the Tribeca section of New York City is where the exterior scenes of the Ghostbusters were. Inside the firehouse are a Ghostbuster sign and photos taken with the cast and crew.
Nice.
So I think that's pretty cool. One of the quotes, there's a couple quotes in here. One of the quotes, the movie, the line, "Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria," was voted as number 68 of the 100 greatest movie lines by Premiere in 2007.
Oh, wow.
The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, which is my personal favorite of this movie, the suits cost approximately $20,000 each.
Wow.
3 were made, and all of them were destroyed during the filming of this movie. The jail scene that they were all thrown in was filmed in a prison reported to be haunted, and the dailies had scratches all over them with no apparent physical cause. The director was concerned about returning there, and so was the crew, but they were very relieved to find that they had enough footage to complete the scene without returning back to the jail.
So that's actually interesting to have a paranormal event happen while shooting a movie about ghosts.
Right. Well, my thing is, if you're the Ghostbusters, you should have been able to take care of it. Well, we'll talk about this at the end when we do our things. We already talked about this. The music video for the song Ghostbusters featured numerous celebrities who didn't appear in the film, including Chevy Chase, Irene Cara, John Candy, Melissa Gilbert, Ollie E. Brown, Jeffrey Tambor, George Wendt, Al Franken, Danny DeVito, Carly Simon, Peter Falk, and Terry Garr. So I thought that was very interesting. That music video had a lot of celebrities in it.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of celebrities, even though they weren't in the movie. The Dream Ghost, a lot of these deleted scenes, there was a lot of deleted scenes, but like in the montage of stuff, you'll see like this is the part where Ray, where he's laying down, and that ghost is floating above him.
Oh, yeah.
And it starts unbuckling his belt buckle and all that. So Kimberly Herron played the ghost lady, and she had to have a mold made of her body for the form-fitting rig that allowed her to float above Dan Aykroyd. According to Herron, the prop tech putting molding plaster on her was reluctant to apply the plaster to her breasts. She grabbed his plaster-filled hands and placed it on her breast and told him to get over it. So, he's probably like, no. Yeah, let's just get this over with. The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man was really supposed to come up out of the water right next to the Statue of Liberty, which would have been a really awesome scene.
That would have,
but they said it was really too hard to shoot. So
that makes sense too.
None of the actors enjoyed wearing the proton packs on their back because some were heavier than others. The director said that Harold Ramis was the one that complained the least, which he probably was the one that had the most.
The lightest?
No, but what I'm saying is he's probably the one that had the best case to argue that I'm not doing this because of his autoimmune disease,
That's right,
and all that. So, but the director wouldn't say which actor complained the most. Who do you think complained the most?
Oh, man. I don't know.
I'm saying it's got to be Bill Murray. It's got to be.
Think so?
It's got to be Bill Murray. It's got to be.
Is he known to be? I mean,
I don't know, but I'm just saying, just from I just think it's him. I don't think Dan Aykroyd would do it because he's the one that.
I guess that makes sense. Higher paid actors are like, okay, yeah, this is uncomfortable. Let's change that.
Right. In the one of the opening scenes, you remember in the library, which I thought was really well done, but when the card drawers open and the cards start flying out.
Yeah, that was really cool.
They had prop workers hidden behind a stage setting to make it look like part of the library. The drawers were pushed open from the bag, and the cards were blown out via the copper piping. Now, I did notice that none of the cards had any writing on them. So
blank cards.
Right, so I thought that was interesting. But, of course, it's blown them out from the back, but I don't think I've seen any writing on them at all. And kids, back in my day when we used to have to go to the library, we had to go to the Rolodex and find them and then go find them. We didn't have a little computer to type, tell us where to go.
A mixture of both that and you'd have the card in the book where you'd write your name and you check it out, which I you don't do anymore. Which I don't even know when that stopped. It just did.
Right,
now
and it would tell you who checked it out before you and who checked it out after you.
You can always see like the names and that pops up in a lot of movies when detectives are like, all right, we got to look into this. Oh, we can see who checked this book out last.
Right. Well, now it's probably just a click of the button on the computer. Right? The rooftop set for the final confrontation between Gozer and the Ghostbusters occupied an entire soundstage and required 50,000 amps of electricity to be properly lit.
Oh, wow.
Man, I bet that's a bill.
Yeah.
Columbia Pictures had to shut down other stages while this scene was being filmed, probably because they didn't have enough power to light it, you know what I mean?
They didn't want to trip any breakers mid-scene.
And that meter's probably going, you know what I mean? Scenes in the montage of the Ghostbusters running and driving the Ectomobile around New York were done on the first day, largely without any film permits. Right. In one scene, someone who looks like a security guard begins chasing him, and Dan Aykroyd is driving the Ectomobile away from him. So, I wonder because if they didn't have any film permits and they had those blue lights going, I wonder if that's why they were chasing them because hey, you're not supposed to have these. You know what I mean?
More than likely.
When they defeat Gozer, Winston says, this job is definitely not worth $11,500 a year. Adjusted for inflation, this yearly salary for a Ghostbuster in late 2018 would be $27,437.60. Terrence, would you like to be a Ghostbuster for that price?
No, thank you.
Here he is. I told you that the firehouse that they used for the Ghostbuster as their headquarters was used in another movie. It was used as the mechanic shop in The Mask, the Jim Carrey The Mask in 1994. We all know and come to love Slimer, especially from the cartoon where he actually joins the team.
Where he's most
and he's more, he looks more polished. This is just a big green ball. He's kind of weird looking. But he's never referred to in the script as whatever the Green Ghost in the hotel. They never know him, but he's known as Onion Head. By the crew because of his horrid smell. Since it was never referred in the movie, the writers of the real Ghostbusters in 1986, which I believe is the cartoon, came up with the name Slimer because they slimed Peter Venkman. So it makes sense. There's a lot of smoking in this movie. And one scene, much. Right. In one scene, that Dan Aykroyd, I think he's in the hotel, and he's walking around. He runs into Slimer. And he's got that the cigarette and it just on his lip. Sticks to his lip. You know what I mean? And he said, "Look, he's like, it was in the script. It was planned. He's like, but no adhesive was used. The cigarette actually stuck to his lip with just his saliva. So that's a great scene.
What I also think is funny is you can clearly see a no smoking sign as they're going up the elevator.
Right. A lot of the inspiration for the lighting used, like from behind the doors and stuff, the director got from Close Encounters of the Third Kind in 1977, the year I was born.
Nice.
The eggs that fry themselves are sitting next to a package of Stay Puft marshmallows, which I showed you this. Yep. There's also is also visible on the side of a building when the ghosts are freed during the magic montage. There's a big old Stay Puft thing out there. Dan Aykroyd's original title for this film was going to be Ghost Smashers.
Ghost Smashers.
You're going to call them the Ghost Smashers.
Ghost Smashers.
A more ferocious version of the librarian puppet was going to be used, but it was rejected. A year later, it did appear in Fright Night in 1985.
Huh.
This is probably one of my favorite scenes of this movie, besides the Stay Puft Marshmallow, because he's just his facial expressions and everything. Yeah. But at the beginning, when Bill Murray is sitting there doing that experiment with the two,
my God.
He's using those Zinner cards in his ESP experiments. Zener cards have 5 symbols, and they all appear in this scene: a star, a circle, a square, a cross, and a set of wavy lines. They do not include the figure 8 in which Jennifer guesses, and he says, "How did you know? Can you see through?" And stuff like that. Yeah. So he's just giving it to her anyway, because you come to find out that Bill Murray is a womanizer, I guess you would say, for lack of a better term. Another great movie quote was, "Well, there's something you don't see every day," and it was voted as number 19 of the 100 Greatest Movie Lines by Premiere in 2007.
Wow.
Dan Aykroyd described Mr. Stay Puft as a cross between the Michelin Man, which is the Tire Man, and the Pillsbury Doughboy.
That makes sense.
He looks just like him. He wanted to create a fictional brand mascot that everyone would have grown up with, recognized even though.
Yeah.
Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, and Ivan Reitman spent 3 weeks in Martha's Vineyard revisiting Aykroyd's original script, because I had to rewrite some of it.
Yeah.
The white ghost and the iconic Ghostbusters logo is called, do you know what it's called? Do you know who he's called? What his name is?
I have no idea.
Moogly. Mooglie.
Moogly.
Moogly. I never knew that.
I didn't know they gave all the ghosts names.
And this is a really interesting thing that sometimes real world events happen, and because they happen, stuff in the movie is set, the location or whatever is set for when they film.
Yeah.
Here's point in case I'm trying to make. When Venkman and Dana are at the Lincoln Center, and it was the first scene film that they were together, Sigourney Weaver and Bill Murray, the fountain had to be turned off for some shots so the actors' lines could be heard, and sometimes they dubbed them in later. But here's what I wanted to bring up about history. The U.S. and other flags flying at half-mast in distance background are mourning the American and French soldiers killed October 23rd in 1983 in the barracks bombing in Beirut, Lebanon. President Reagan's nationwide order extended through the 31st. So I'm just saying there's a little bit of real-world stuff
in the background,
of a movie. And I just thought, I think it'd be reminiscent if we didn't say something like that. When interviewing Alice the librarian, Peter asked her if she is currently menstruating.
Oh, yeah.
Tara's looking at me with this weird face. The shocked head librarian asks, "What does that have to do with anything?" And Peter replies, "Back off, man. I'm a scientist." In parapsychology, there is some correlation between menstrual cycles and telekinetic powers. From a psychological standpoint, Alice may have been going through menopause, which in very rare cases can cause psychotic breaks or blackouts. Peter was trying to determine if Alice might have actually caused the disturbance herself, either physically or through psychic powers.
I thought he was just being
I know
himself.
Hey, I don't know, but I think menstruation makes them magicians because I like to disappear. Don't take that the wrong way. That's just a joke, people. Just a joke. The crew members gathered a bunch of interesting props that they could be used, and let Bill Murray pick his favorite. He chose the sniffer. Remember the sniffer? And he got it into the film. It just looked like a bent hose, with a like a blood pressure thing,
Right.
The producers.
Do you know how to use that? Yeah, it's technical.
The producers were prepared to produce a different ending if test audience didn't react positively to the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. They were going to shoot a whole nother ending. I was like,
I wonder what else they would have went with.
I don't know, man, but I'm glad they kept that in there.
Right?
I mean,
so great. I just thought of the most harmless thing I could think of. Stay Puft Marshmallow
The
Man.
four actors, right? The 4 actors playing the Ghostbusters were all at least 6 foot tall. Will Atherton was also 6 foot tall, making Rick Moranis the odd man out in the principal cast at 5 feet 4 inches. Which we were watching it right before we started recording, and I said, "Terrence, watch this." And Sigourney Weaver, when they go, he's like, "Are you the gatekeeper or whatever?" And she said, "What?" He comes in there and she just takes him and gives him the old. She dips him down with the kiss. Like so it's usually the other way around.
So great.
The Harvey Comics creator of Casper the Friendly Ghost sued the producers, claiming the ghost in the logo was too close to the Casper character Fatso. The court ruled against them, stating, "Hey, there's only so many ways to draw a ghost." So,
got a point.
Take note, if anybody's trying to make a movie about a ghost or something, you can only draw them so many ways. Dan Aykroyd was inspired to write this script for the film after living in a house that was allegedly haunted by the ghost of Cass Elliot. In the library, Venkman chides with Ray by calling him Francine. "Come here, Francine." Bill Murray was probably poking fun at Dan Aykroyd's real-life friendship with Fran Drescher. Do you know who Fran Drescher is? Terrence. That's how she became the nanny. The Nanny. You ever seen The Nanny?
Yeah.
Okay. Good, great people.
I know.
When you remember in the hotel where at the end where not at the end of the movie, but at the end where they capture Slimer,
and
they all walk out, and Bill Murray's over there writing down the cost and everything. If you watch Egon, he's like putting fingers up in the like by his nose, telling him, hey, 1,000, 4,000, and then again for the 1,000. So he's actually holding them up to his nose to actually, I thought it was really cool.
I thought he was just coming up with numbers.
No, he was. If you watch it, right?
Huh. That would make sense because he's all the brains behind the operation.
And this is one of the most interesting things I found. This is crazy right here. In a 2010 interview, actor William Atherton recalled to the AV Club that it was shaving cream instead of marshmallow stuff coming down. Okay, so he said the shaving cream that was used for the melted marshmallow was still quite heavy. We had the 8th grade science test. I went under the bag and I asked, how much shaving cream is in there? And they said, not that much. So I said, well, how much does it weigh? It's about 75 pounds.
Oh, man.
But it's shaving cream. The whole thing about 75 pounds of feathers and 75 pounds of lead, it's the same thing. So we can figure out that. So he said, so can we figure out what's going to happen with this? So they put some poor stunt guy underneath to show what the sissy actor would think about. That would say, okay, nothing's going to happen to me. So they unleashed it, and it flattened him.
Oh, no.
So they took out half of the shaving cream, and he said, I went in very happily. I was slimed after that. but 75 pounds just falling.
Stunt guy.
Right. And lastly, but not least, when Venkman is explaining to the Gozer that it will take the form of whatever they think of, he uses J. Edgar Hoover as an example. The fact that he used J. Edgar Hoover as an example would mean that he had to think of him, if only for a second, which means Gozer should have assumed the form of J. Edgar Hoover instead of the
exactly
state
what
of
I was
Marshmallow
thinking
Man.
of when he said that. I was like, wait, wouldn't it immediately? And also, it's also that whole like psychological thing where it's like, okay, don't think of a pink elephant, and then what are you thinking of? You're thinking of a pink elephant,
right?
So it's like it's interesting.
All right, Terrence, give me your thoughts on the Ghostbusters. Number one, we've already talked about this for a little bit. Would you consider Ghostbusters a good movie? And I say that because we do this podcast and we like to be truthful with people.
We do.
With how we do. And no matter how much it pains us or we like it, we want to do it justice and if we think it's a good movie or not. And then your personal feelings on top of that, we know. So let's go ahead and tell the audience what you think.
So I'll give it a no.
As far as a good movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, some of the special effects in the scenes do work, but there are other special effects that just not age well.
But I think, I also think that's because that they rushed through some of them and they didn't get a chance to finish them because they were against that deadline so fast, and I think that might have hurt them a little bit.
Yeah. Obviously, there's a chunk of the comedy that didn't age well. That you and me might find funny, but it could be a little insensitive. Depending on what angle you're coming from. Obviously, Bill Murray's character, and his whole attitude, which is funny because as much as I enjoy this movie, and I still really like it. The beginning actually had me like a little cringing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Of just how like schwarmy he is. Like in the very beginning when he's doing that whole test, and then the scenes afterwards, I was just like, oh man, I didn't realize this at all. Because it's been some time since I watched this movie. But I mean, it's fun. If you feel like you can go back, watch older movies and kind of look past some of these things, it's still something to go back, laugh at it a couple scenes and enjoy. And Rick Moranis, I like anything with Rick Moranis in it. He's just an incredible actor. I love everything he's in. Same with Bill Murray, hilarious, and there's just some great moments in the movie. But as far as a good movie, it's not. But it's more of like, kind of like I've been hitting on, and this will be a continuing theme in most of these movies because we do old movies, and that's it. Nostalgia carries weight, and I'm very nostalgic for this movie, and I enjoyed it. There might be someone who would come in now who hasn't seen it, like we have with a couple movies that we've done on the podcast, and been like, you know what, I don't like it at all, and I would understand.
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, it's you see something as a child, and pretty much it's the first time something like that's been done, and you're mesmerized, and you're like, wow, there's Halloween costumes and all that you can dress up at. Even today, you can go to the local Halloween store and find Ghostbusters costumes.
It's a big pop culture reference,
and
too.
It's
even more recently, Stranger Things. They love referencing Ghostbusters.
Right, but I'm saying when we talk about movies, and the way me and you talk about movies is it a good movie? I'm going to have to agree with you. I think this is one of the times that we're actually going to agree. No, it's not a very good movie. But did I like it? Of course I liked it. I mean, it's childhood for me.
Exactly.
But if you take somebody that's younger now and you show them this, they may not necessarily like it.
I don't even think it would pass the screening for a lot of parents for a younger audience to watch this.
Well, let's talk about Bill Murray's character for a minute. First, if you watch him throughout this whole entire movie, we can tell he's a womanizer. First, it's the girl getting tested with that guy. He's lying to her for every choice she does because she doesn't get a single one right, I don't believe.
Yeah.
Then he goes to Dana. Remember, he jumps over the counter and he's like, "Well, I'll go swing by your apartment or whatever." So he goes to his apartment. He makes a little subtle jokes about. She's like, "Oh, that's the bedroom. Nothing happens in there." And he's like, "Well, that's a shame." And he just little subtle jokes like that. There's the scene where he actually does drug her with that Thorazine or whatever it is, and technically he's not even a doctor. He's a scientist, so he wouldn't even have the prescriptions for that. And that being that kind of character's hands. From what you have seen, I just don't think that's a good look for him.
Definitely.
Also, when he's walking, right, and also when he's walking into the hotel, he's just always looking at the women as they're walking by and stuff like that. So you can tell the character of Bill Murray. I love Bill Murray as a character.
As an actor, he's played some phenomenal roles.
This was a little cringy. And I don't want to say cringy. I liked it. He had some funny one-liners. He gets slimed and all that. It's just, for me,
I think cringy is the right word, though, because in those scenes when he is turning that dial up to 11, you're like, oof.
I wonder if this was in the original script or if this is ad-libbed, you know what I mean? And then again, I wonder if they actually gave him, hey, this is your character, this is what I wonder if they let him have, or if they even let the actors have free range on how they created their characters based upon what was in the script. You know what I mean?
Hey, this is the type of character
some of them might have been written in the script like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? But when we find out that most of it was ad-libbed and Bill Murray ad-libbed half of his lines anyway, or more than half of his lines anyway, then for me, I don't know. I loved Egon. And then especially now,
he's actually one of my favorites.
Right, and especially now knowing what he went through with his disease, hats off to him. I liked Ernie Hudson. I think that he was great. He did say, that I was reading in some of the notes or something, that he wished that he would have been in it more. Because why? But to my feeling, I agree with him. He's like, he loves and he hates the movie for that reason. Yeah. And my question is, just because Eddie Murphy didn't take the part, why did you have to go back and rewrite the script just because Eddie Murphy didn't? Now maybe it was because Eddie Murphy had more star power at the time.
That would probably be the case. Yeah.
But still. I don't think it was right. I think I would like to see that original script and see
how much screen time he would have had.
Right.
I felt that too. I felt his part was pretty small compared. Even though he's one of the main Ghostbusters, he doesn't show up until the latter half of the film. And then when he is in the latter half, you actually don't see him do any Ghostbusting. You just kind of see the aftermath when they're doing the montage and stuff like that. And you just get these anecdotal sort of references of him like, oh, yeah, that was crazy that we did that, but you never actually see a lot of things.
There's probably some deleted scenes, too, because there was something about where his dad was like the architect or something of one of the buildings or something, and they do a ghost like that. But, yeah, I mean,
I would have liked to have seen more an in-depth character on him. And, it kind of feels unfortunate, especially, being the sole African-American actor in this film, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it kind of feels a little short-handed.
Rick Moranis and Sigourney Weaver, outstanding.
Oh, yes.
The way Rick Moranis goes around that one scene where he's at the party and he just starts going on and he just starts, he just goes and he ad-libbed that entire scene and just went through that entire, list of things, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, well, we'll start dancing. Maybe everybody will start dancing with us. They just start dancing. Somebody else comes knocks on the door.
Get the door.
Right. Great. So yeah, is it a great movie? No. Is it a good movie? No. Do I like it? Yes. Will I watch it again? Of course.
Yeah.
Just for the nostalgia factor, and I know a lot of people like this movie, and I can't blame them that they like it, but I think it's usually because it's tied to something in their childhood that makes them go back to that time in life,
Exactly.
not what's happening today.
And not to mention, there's actually a lot of scenes and certain little nuances of the movie that I don't remember, and so that kind of goes to that nostalgia and even pop culture. Just like, you remember liking it, and you see all this stuff that's constantly resurfacing on it, and like what the photon packs look like, the costumes, their car and everything. And then when you watch it, sometimes you see scenes and you're like, "Wow, I didn't remember this." For example, prime example, like I remember the library scene. Very good start to the movie, but I didn't remember the whole swarminess of Bill Murray's character.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't remember that at all. So it was just like rewatching it kind of brought those things to light. I'm like, maybe it didn't age as well as I thought it would.
But I love it. Like I said, that opening scene where he's electrocuting the kid for guessing wrong, and there's that one, his gum falls out. He picks it back up and puts it back in. Right. So yeah, I would say if you haven't seen it, I'd watch it at least once, and then you can make your own decisions from there. But it had a lot of great actors in it, a lot of great actresses, a lot of good cameos.
See, guys, we tear apart movies we like too.
Yeah. It's not just Die Hard. That's not a Christmas movie. it's a lot of but we try to do it justice, and we understand that some movies some people are going to like forever, and some people aren't going to like them. This is one that I don't think is a good movie, but I like it.
Exactly.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess this episode's coming to a close because we do have another episode to record here in a few minutes. But if you would like to reach out to us, we are on the Tragedia Cinema podcast group on Facebook.
Yep.
You can also reach us at thetragediacinema@gmail.com. Don't forget the drawing for the coffee mug will be Saturday about 8 o'clock, which is Halloween night, and I'll post the winner on Facebook. So other than that, I think the next time we record after this one, me and Terrence were here, and we were like, well, it's going to be basically our 50th episode. I guess I'll count Night of the Living Dead as an episode, even though it's our Halloween special.
Yeah.
But we wanted to do something different. So I said, Terrence, I was like, you love Star Wars, I love Star Wars. And I said, yeah, but we love Lord of the Rings, and you love Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean? So I said, we're going to flip a coin. And whoever it lands on, we're going to do. So we flipped the coin, and Lord of the Rings beat out Star Wars.
Yep.
So for this 50th montage episode or whatever, we will be doing the Fellowship of the Ring.
And it'll probably be a two-parter.
Oh, it's going to be long.
Least.
It's going to be long. It's one of my favorites. I have Gollum here, Gollum behind me. I've got the card games. I got the board games. I've got Risk.
I've got goblets.
I've got the Burger Gandalf and Arwen over there right now. It's actually... honestly, I will say that Lord of the Rings has probably taken over my love of movies over Star Wars.
It really has.
I think because you can go back and you can watch the original Star Wars, and I love Star Wars to pieces, but when you watch Lord of the Rings, and it's beautiful.
Absolutely.
It ages great.
It really does.
So that's what we'll be doing next, the Fellowship of the Ring. So I'm telling you this early because it's a long movie. And we're going to do the extended versions, which is even longer. So you're looking at probably a close to 3.5 hour movie.
And we're spreading these movies out, obviously, just because of not only the length of the movies, but the length that it will run our podcast. We're just covering the first movie,
right?
Fellowship of the
So
Ring.
there's a lot of stuff we could talk about the entire trilogy, which maybe after we're done doing all three movies, we'll have a trilogy sit down, bring some special guests in if they want to be on and discuss the whole thing. I know I've got one friend, Chris Thompson, said he would like to come in and talk some nerd stuff with us. So I was like, hey, no problem. We just got to get our schedules because we are technically totally opposite schedules right now.
Yeah.
So, and he's a big fan of the Twilight Zone too. So, well, I think this episode's coming to a close. You got any extra things to put here on the end, Terrence?
That's it.
All right. Well, this episode's coming to close, and that's a wrap. And cut.